And this stomach is for food. So we can consume whatever we want. We don't think about the consequences later. We gain weight. What are you going to do with my body? I have to exercise. I have to be on diet. Let's eat. But it's hard to control, right? Some of you went through those experiences. Eating is okay, right? Because it's so good. But after this, what is the consequences? You overeat, ate. So he just listed those sins. These are what was going on in the church, but he just picked one issue: avoiding sexual sin. Why? He talked about two things. Why? The reason is, verse 12, the latter part, I am allowed to do anything. Even though I am allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything. What does that mean? Once you give in to that temptations, you're going to be a slave for your whole life. That's what it meant. So what is the sexual sin? When you're tempted and when you just fall yourself into that trap, you have to satisfy yourself. But can you get a satisfaction in this world? Even physically? So Paul is just raising a question: will these kind of things enslave me? So we need to be very careful when temptation comes. You know, last time I mentioned, as a young people, well, for our lifetime, we have to confront three things, right? When you're single, you have to fight for what? Sexual immorality. After you marry, have kids, you need to fight for the money, materials. And after children are grown up, you have to fight for your fame. Those three things are our enemies throughout our lives. So today he's talking about sexual sin. Why is this so important for young people to be cleansed, to be pure? See, next chapter he's talking about the marriage, instruction on marriage. But before he goes in, he's talking about sexual sin. As a prelude, out of the marriage, when you have sex, it's like a robbing bank. When you rob the bank, what do you get? Money, greenback dollar, or even gold bar. But it is not yours. Someday you have to pay the price. But within the marriage, sex is what? It's like a person who is putting the money into bank, because there is a safety, security, and he will get dividends out of it. Right? It depends on how much you put it. Why? He's an accountant, so he knows what I'm talking about. Profit instead of return on investment. Tax deduction. Besides, why is marriage so important, and why Paul is mentioning about sexual immorality? Let's turn to the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi. Malachi chapter 2. Okay, in verse 15. Didn't the Lord make you one with your wife? You have to notice a word, one, okay? In body and spirit, you are His. And what does He want? Godly children from your union. So guard your heart. Remain loyal to the wife of your youth. And notice verse 16. What does God say? Even NIV. I hate divorce. That's what God says in the Bible. But what is going on out there, today's world? Why so many divorce? Why? God created one man for one woman. That's what Malachi, the prophet, is raising a question to people. Didn't the Lord make you one with your wife? Adam and Eve became united as one body. Why one? The reason, He wants godly children. God is seeking godly children out of one body. We should know that. So, premarital, postmarital, outside of marriage, you have sexual relationship with other people, you're losing God's blessings. So you must know and understand. If you didn't know about this, today is the day that you need to repent and ask for the forgiveness. If you are God's children, God has given you blessing through your seed. If you understand the meaning of that seed, which carries God's blessing to the next generation, you just throw it away. That's the secret from God. That's why next chapter in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, do not what? Do not equally yoke with people don't know about God. Why? You cannot talk about the spiritual things. If both man and woman are not in God's Spirit, they cannot talk about the Bible. They cannot talk about spiritual things. What is spiritual things? We cannot see. God says, I am Spirit. You cannot see me. That's why by faith we believe. So faith means what? We believe the things that we cannot see. But today's world, what we say that? Seeing is believing. That is not believing. What we see is the facts. That's the scientist belief. They only believe what they see. If they can see, they don't believe. That is from in Europe in the 15th century, called enlightenment. They only believe what they see. that transferred to the United